Hi everybody, let's do IXL 7th grade W.17. Go to Learning, go to 7th grade, and then go to W.17. Find measures of complementary, supplementary, vertical, and adjacent angles. And we talked about this earlier, but just to remind you what all of those words mean, over here on the reference pages on page 14, here we are, page 14. So complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. Congruent angles are equal to each other. Adjacent angles are next to each other. More specifically, they share a common side and a common vertex. A linear pair is when adjacent angles form a straight angle. So they make 180 degrees. So basically, when you put them together, you see that their sides create a straight line over here. And that's going to be very important in this exercise. Anytime we see two angles right next to each other and making a straight line together, we know that the angle must be 180 degrees, which is also called a straight angle. And also, vertical angles are on opposite sides of two intersecting lines. I guess that's a typo. I forgot to put the word lines there. Anyway, vertical angles are on opposite sides of two intersecting lines. So for example, angle P here and angle Q are vertical. They're on opposite sides of these two intersecting lines. And also something that's going to be very important for this exercise, very important for you to remember, is that vertical angles are always congruent, meaning they're always equal to each other. So anytime you see two angles which are on opposite sides of two intersecting lines, you know they must be equal to each other. All right, with that in our heads, let's try some of these problems. What is the value of angle S? Let me get my pen over here. Okay, so angle S is this angle right over here. You see S right over there. Now, one thing that you'll notice is that angle S is made from this line, which I'll just extend this way, and this line, which I will also extend past the vertex there. And so we notice that angle S and this angle over here, which is 60 degrees, these angles are vertical angles. They're on opposite sides of two intersecting lines. And what do we know about vertical angles? They are congruent, meaning they are equal to each other. So if this one is 60 degrees, then angle S must also be 60 degrees. So we'll just type that in there. There we go. Next one, what is the value of angle B? Well, so let's go back to the reference page, and right over here, you see this little symbol here, which looks like the corner of a square? That's the symbol for a right angle, which is 90 degrees. And going back to the IXL, I see that symbol right over here, which is telling me that this angle from here to here is 90 degrees. In other words, this angle just from here to here, which is 60 degrees, if we add it up with angle B, then we must get 90 degrees. And therefore, angle B must be 30 degrees because 60 plus 30 is equal to 90. Right? If you want to go through the whole thing, then you could subtract 60 from both sides. angle B is equal to 30. So yeah, 60 plus 30 is equal to 90. So angle B must be 30 degrees. All right, moving right along. What is the value of angle D, which is this angle right over here, made from this line and this line? Well, we can see that angle D and this other angle over here, which is 110 degrees, these are adjacent angles. They're next to each other, meaning they share a common side and a common vertex. But even more than that, they are a linear pair because together they make a straight line like this, which means that if we start here and go through this 110-degree angle and then through angle D, we must get 180 degrees. So we have that 110 plus angle D equals 180. Okay, 110 degrees, 180 degrees. So angle D must be 70 degrees, right? Because 110 plus 70 equals 180. Or in other words, if we subtract 110 from both sides, we get that D is equal to 70 degrees. Okay, it's all degrees there. All right, so that's the answer for that one. Okay, this one is exactly the same as the last one. I see that that angle C plus this 40-degree angle must equal 180 degrees because they make a straight line together. So I know that 180 minus 40 is 140. Or in other words, 140 degrees plus 40 degrees equals 180 degrees, right? This must be 140 degrees over here because 140, I'm looking for some number that when added to 40 gives me 180. So that number must be 140. Let's submit that there. All right, and this one is just like another one we did. Again, this symbol over here is telling me that I have a 90-degree angle. So this right over here is 90 degrees. So I'm thinking to myself, 50 plus what number for G equals 90 degrees? And that must be 40, right? 50 plus 40 equals 90. Another way we can figure that out, subtract 50 from both sides. All right, I think I'm going to skip ahead to the next level because it looks like I'm starting to get questions which are pretty much the same. So I'm just going to go over here and jump a level. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, what is the value of angle M? That is this angle right over here. I can see that angle M, if I take these lines which make angle M and extend them, I see that this angle over here is made from the same two lines. So angle M and this angle here are vertical, which makes them congruent. So if this is 26 degrees, this must also be 26 degrees. I think actually we had a question like that earlier. All right, the measure of an angle is 169 degrees. What is the measure of its supplementary angle? So this is just saying, remember, supplementary angles by definition are angles that add up to 100 angles that add up to 180 degrees. So this question is really saying, what number plus 169 equals 180? So this question is really asking us 169 plus x equals 180. So we'll just subtract 169 from both sides, and we get x equals 11. Okay, so that angle must be 11 degrees because 169 plus 11 equals 180. What is the value of angle R? Okay, I think we did this one. We did questions like this. So R plus 27 must equal 90, right? R plus 27 must equal 90. If we just subtract 27 from both sides, we can figure out that R is equal to 63. So let's put that in, right? 63 plus 27 equals 90. What is the value of K? Okay, so this one is a little bit different from what we've been seeing before, but not much different. So this picture is telling me that this 44-degree angle put together with angle K equals 71 degrees. In other words, we're saying that 44 plus K equals 71. So what must K be? Well, again, we'll subtract 44 from both sides, and we'll get K is equal to, let's borrow here, 27, right? And just to check that, we have 44 plus 27 equals 71. And 44 plus 27, I'll just check that on the side, does equal 71. So K must be equal to 27 degrees. All right, the measure of an angle is 43 degrees. What is the measure of its complementary angle? Just to remind you what complementary means, complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So this question is saying 43 plus what number equals 90 degrees? So just subtract 43 from both sides. You've seen me do this about a million times already in this video, and we're going to get 47 there. Okay. Right, and just to check that, 43 plus 47 does equal 90. What is the value of H? This question is just like all the other questions we've done. Remember, if we see that the two angles together make a straight line, then they must add up to 180 degrees. So we have H plus 126.6 equals 180. Subtract 126.6 from both sides. That cancels. We have H equals, let's put a 0.0 in here. Borrow from the 8, that'll become a 7. Put a 1 there. Borrow from that, that becomes a 9. Put a 1 there, so we get 4 here. 9 minus 6 is 3. Put the decimal in there. 7 minus 2 is 5, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So we get 53.4 degrees. All right, I think these questions are getting kind of repetitive. I think we've seen we're getting questions which are pretty much the same as the last ones we've done, maybe just with decimals now. So I am going to, once again, go ahead and jump to the next level. All right, what is the value of k? Good, this one is a little bit trickier. So I see this symbol here, which is telling me that this angle plus this other angle must add up to 90 degrees. So we have 39, and I'll call this angle x. So 39 plus x equals 90. So x must be equal to 51. So this angle over here is 51 degrees. But something else that you'll notice is that if this angle right here, I'll go over it in yellow, if this is 51 degrees, and this angle here we see is vertical to this angle. So if this angle is 51 degrees, then this angle must also be 51 degrees. So angle K is 51 degrees. What is the value of R? I have no idea because I drew over it. Let me erase this. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. So we have another tricky one. I like these tricky ones. Well, this one is actually, yeah, this one is exactly the same as the last one. So again, these two angles together must be 90 degrees. In other words, x plus 28 must be equal to 90 degrees. How do I know it's 90 degrees? Because I see this little symbol over here. Okay, so if we subtract 28 from both sides, then we get x is equal to 62. So x is equal to 62, but x is made from this line and from this line. And if we extend those lines, we see that angle x, maybe this is a little bit confusing how I drew it, but angle x is just from here to here. So angle x is vertical to this angle r. And we just figured out that angle x equals 62. So angle r must also be 62. Right? Let's go over the reasoning again. 28 plus x equals 90. So x must be 62 because 28 plus 62 equals 90. But x is the same as r. So if x is 62 degrees, then r must also be 62 degrees because they're vertical angles. All right, next question. The measure of an angle is 44 times the measure of its complementary angle. What is the measure of each angle? So we did questions like this before in another exercise. So we'll do it again. I know that, let's call one of the angles x. Pick a different color. Let's call one of the angles x, And so x plus the complement of x must be equal to 90. Because by definition, an angle and its complementary angle add up to 90 degrees. That's what complementary angles are. They're angles that add up to 90 degrees. But I know that the complement of x is 44 times as much as x. So if one of the angles I call x, I can call the other angle 44x. So now I just have to solve this equation for x. So x is the same as 1x, so I'll put a 1 there. So I get 1x plus 44x is 45x equals 90. And then divide both sides by 45 to get rid of this over here. And we have x equals 90 divided by 45 is 2. So what does that tell me? That tells me that one of these angles, the angle which is 1x, or just x, is 2 degrees. And the other angle, which is 44x, means 44 times 2. Remember, x is 2. So 44 times 2 is equal to 88. So again, one angle is just 1 times 2, so that's just 2 degrees. And the other angle is 44 times 2, which is 88. So does it make sense for my angles to be 2 degrees and 88 degrees? Yeah, it does make sense because 2 plus 88 is equal to 90. So this angle over here is 44 times as big as its complementary angle. So we met that criteria of one angle being 44 times as big as the other one, right? 88 is 44 times as much as 2. And we also met the criteria of them being complementary angles. Oops, I just realized I put a plus sign here. That should be an equal sign. Right? We also met the criteria of them being complementary, meaning that when we add them up, we get 90 degrees. So one is 2 and the other is 88. I'm at the challenge zone. The measure of an angle is 17 times the measure of its supplementary angle. What is the measure of each angle? Well, let's call one angle x, and the other angle is 17 times as big as that one. So let's call the other angle 17x. Now we know that the angles are supplementary, which means when we add them up, we get 180 degrees. So let's do the same thing we did last time. We'll put a 1 here. So 1x plus 17x is 18x. So I have 18x equals 180. If I divide both sides by 18, then I get x equals 10. So that means that I have that one of my angles is just 1 times 10, or 10. So one angle is 10 degrees, and the other angle is 17 times 10. Remember, x we just figured out is equal to 10. So the other angle is 17 times 10, which is 170 degrees. So did we meet the first criteria, which is that one angle is 17 times as large as the other angle? Yes, because 170 is 17 times as much as 10. If we do 10 times 17, we get 170. But we also met the criteria of them being supplementary angles, because 10 plus 170 is equal to 180 degrees. So that's our answer. One of the angles must be 10 degrees, and the other angle must be 170 degrees. There we go. Okay, so this one is just like the last one. Okay, so I'll just do this one again real quick. This is going to be x plus 11x equals 180. So that's going to give me 12x equals 180. And then divide both sides by 12. So we get x equals, let's see, that's going to be 1 and then 15, right? So one of my angles must be 1 times x, or 1 times 15, so that's just 15. And the other angle, I'm going to get 11 times 15, which is 165. So I met the first criteria. This angle is 11 times as big as this one. 15 times 11 is equal to 165. And also 15 plus 165 is equal to 180 degrees. Okay? All right, that question was just like the last one, but using different numbers. If I get another question which is the same as some questions that we've already done, then I think I'm going to end it there. Let's see. What is the value of J? All right, I guess this one's a little bit different. Oh, well, okay. So, wow. This question is giving us two ways of doing it. Right? So, it's almost like a trick question. So I see this little symbol here. What does that little symbol mean? That means that this angle right here is 90 degrees. But that angle is J. And the question was just asking me, what's the value of J? So the answer is 90 degrees. So that was a ridiculously easy question. It gave us the answer by giving us this symbol here and telling us J is this angle, this 90-degree angle. Now, there is actually another way that we could have done that, because I can also see from the picture that this angle plus this angle plus this angle, which is angle J, all together we get 180 degrees, because if I start here and then go all the way around here, I just made half of a full rotation. Remember, a full rotation is 360 degrees. Half of it would be 180 degrees. And I see this straight line here, which is telling me that all of this adds up to 180 degrees. So I can write 60 plus 30 plus J equals 180. Well, 60 plus 30 is 90. So we have 90 plus J equals 180. But then if we just subtract 90 from both sides, we get 180 minus 90 is also 90. So that's another way that we could have figured out that J is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. So just submit that. Let's see if this question is any different. Yeah, I guess. All right, I guess this is kind of different. We've done questions similar to this where I think the opposite side was 90 degrees, and here it's basically the same thing, just telling us that the opposite side is 80 degrees. Or actually, no, maybe this is sort of different. No, I think this is kind of different from the other ones that we've done. So let's just go through it. The first thing that you can see is that this 80-degree angle, if we take this line and extend it this way, and take this line and extend it this way, we see that this angle and this angle are vertical to each other. So they must be congruent, meaning equal. So if this is 80 degrees, then this must also be 80 degrees. Now be careful. I did not say that angle D is 80 degrees. I said that, just to be clear, this 50-degree angle plus angle D must be equal to 80 degrees. So again, I can write an equation, 50 plus D, or D plus 50, doesn't matter, equals 80 this time. Not 90, not 180, just 80. And if we subtract 50 from both sides, we see that D must be equal to 30. Right? 50 plus 30 equals 80. So D must be 30. Okay, is this one any... okay, this one is actually just like some of the problems we had in the beginning. The only difference here is there are decimals in there. I'll just outline real quick how to do this one, but we've done problems like this before. This angle plus this angle must add up to 90 degrees because we see this symbol here. So figure out what this angle has to be, okay, which I drew in pink over here. Figure out what this angle has to be. So this one plus this one equals 90. And then once you figure out what that is, you know that this angle must be exactly equal to angle N. How do I know that it must be equal to angle N? Because I see that they are vertical angles. Okay, so basically we're doing 90 minus 31.9. That'll tell us what this angle is. But since this angle is equal to this one, then by doing 90 minus 31.9, we automatically also figure out what angle N is. Okay, so I'm not going to do that one. We've done problems like that before. I think I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to let me know. Have a great day.